أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
وقالوا لن تمسنا النار إلا أياما معدودة قل أتخذتم عند الله عهدا فلن يخلف الله عهده أم تقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون.
Some claim the fire will not touch us except for a number of days. Say, O Prophet, have you taken a pledge from Allah? For Allah never breaks his word, or are you just saying about Allah what you do not know? So we were previously talking about the people, the children of Israel, and the people and how they had gone through various tests and warnings and situations, and then how they hid the scriptures and changed the scriptures so that the truth was not apparent to the people, and what they desired and what they wanted to remain to be the truth was prevalent. So when Allah was talking about those people, he was also talking about diseases of the heart that happens to people, and it happened to the people of the children of Israel, the Jews. And so we understood from last week that this is not specific to just those types of people. This is a disease of the heart that can happen to anyone. And the purpose that Allah reveals this to us is not to say that there are only a specific type of people in the world that do this and no one else does this. Rather, that this is something that we should all be aware of, and we should make sure that we don't fall into that. And so some will translate this particular ayah. However, it doesn't mention the Jews specifically, but if you look up in the translation, some people will translate this particular ayah as saying some of the Jews claim so and so and so, where rather Allah says, and they claim, they claim. So it is to those people who have fallen into the disease of preferring themselves over the signs of Allah, whoever they may be. At the time of this reference it was the children of Israel. Some people might say, but sister, you had mentioned before that what the people of the children of Israel were doing back then, you see the similarity and the resemblance of what they're doing today in Israel and so on and so forth. And that is true. This is a disease that anyone can fall into, whether they're Jewish or not Jewish, or they're Christian or Muslim. Even Muslims can fall into it. Their heritage and their genetics comes into play when they fall into the same kinds of actions that their predecessors have done. And then so we can say, okay, this could be something that they had inherited from generations. But from the onset, we cannot blame people who have not done anything and say, no, they are that type of people and they will always be that type of people, and therefore they are guilty just by association. And that's incorrect. So someone might say there's a discrepancy because, there's people saying that the Jews of today are just like the Jews of the past, and therefore all the Jews all the time, everywhere, are to be condemned and to be treated that way. And that's not true. It only comes into play when they affirm what their ancestors have done. And the reality is that this is a general disease that can happen to anyone of any faith at any time. And so we don't say, there were the people of Quraysh who eventually became Muslims, right? After some time, the conquest of the Prophet ﷺ, they became Muslims. And so we don't say, oh, the genetics of the Quraysh or then, can be prevalent in the way the people are today. They were the best of people. Those who became Muslim at the time of the Prophet ﷺ became the best of people. So which of their genetics are you going to say now affects the people of today? Were they when they were in Jahiliyyah? Or when they became Muslim, became the best of people? So we have to be very careful on how we look at people and not allow this to color our lens when we look at people, but also make sure that we're not claiming something of the Quran that Allah never intended to say that even in the Quran, the Jews are treated this way. No, Allah is not treating the Jews in any specific way. He gave us the story of what the Jews did themselves and gave us the diseases that they fell into so that we don't fall into it, and the cures for those diseases. He doesn't hate anyone just because of who they are or what their lineage was or anything like that, because we all go back to Adam alayhi salam. Having said that, so some claim, some of those people who fall into these kinds of categories or who deny the signs of Allah, they say the fire will not touch us except for a number of days, meaning we are so favored, we are so chosen by Allah that we can do whatever we want. And if we kind of cross the boundaries, if we kind of like make a mistake, if we are so favored that we'll just have a minimal punishment. No, there's some serious misunderstanding or a serious like misplacement of understanding rather in this kind of a statement, because the fire of hell is far greater than the fire in this dunya. And such a person who believes such is only believing such because they cannot let go of the wrong that they are doing. They cannot deal with the pain of separating themselves from stopping the wrong that they're doing. If they are told not to steal people's land, they cannot stop. If the issue is to stay away from some kind of haram relationship, they cannot stay away from it. If it's because they have to give up some illegal financial transactions that will harm society in general, they cannot stop it. So whatever it is that's causing them to accept the fire for a few days is basically saying that they are accepting the sin because they cannot let go of that sin. So now the question is, if they cannot let go of that sin, if they cannot bear the separation and the quote unquote metaphorical fire of getting away from that sin, how is it that they're going to bear the sin, the fire of Jahannam, which is far greater than the fire in this dunya? If you say, listen, if you don't give up this sin, if you don't give up this, forget about sin. If you take one of them and say, hey, listen, if you don't hop on your foot 20 times, I'm going to burn you with this torch, you'll find them hopping on their feet 20 times. Something that's not even, bad for them. But if you tell them stop what's bad for you, and if you don't, I'm going to torch you with this flame I have, you will find them stopping because they're afraid of the fire of this dunya. So this wishful thinking, the fire will not touch us except for a number of days, is actually a form of diminishing the punishment of Allah. And that goes back to not understanding who Allah is and his attributes and what he has done, and the fact, and to believe in the hereafter, and to believe that there is a fire, to believe that there is a Jannah, and to believe that the rewards of actions, and to believe the punishments of actions. So then they are to think. Allah gave the Prophet an answer for them, and the question for them to think. It's a question meant to provoke thought, meant to break logical blocks that are in the way of people to understand what is the correct way and what is the pure path. It's a question. Have you taken a pledge from Allah? Do you know this for a fact? Is Allah the one who told you that the fire will touch you only for a few days? Isn't the fire his? Isn't the dominion of putting someone in Jannah and Jahannam solely for Allah? And if you are deciding that it's only going to touch you for a few days, where did you get that from? Where's that evidence? So let not anyone think that any sin is acceptable because, what is the punishment? I'm going to get away with it. I mean, I've done so much good. I'm favored for whatever reason, whether if someone thinks they're favored because of their lineage, because of their heritage, because of their sadaqah, because of their dawah, because of their attire, because of their family tribe, whatever it is. When it was the Prophet ﷺ who was constantly afraid and constantly asking Allah for forgiveness, anyone taking any kind of stance other than that is only deluded. And for them to think, anyone to think, this sin, this one is okay for me. To accept it, to make a sin okay for oneself is pure delusion. Because did they have permission from Allah directly saying this sin is okay for you? Riba is okay for you. For you, it's okay. Everybody else is haram, but for you, khalas, it's okay because, I love you so much. Rather, the one that Allah loves so much, they are given more and more restrictions for matters of the dunya, not out of punishment for them, not out of pain for them, and not because they dislike it or they are burdened by it, rather because they prefer the hereafter more, and they would give up more and more of this dunya and give up anything that this dunya has to offer, whether it is status, wealth, fame, whatever it is. They would rather give it up and preserve their reward for the akhirah. So for someone to say, well, not even the halal stuff, a lot for me, but the haram stuff is made halal for me, then that is someone that actually has misunderstood and misappropriated the purpose of being in this world. And so if they didn't have permission from Allah, if they didn't have a promise from Allah, and Allah says he never breaks his word, he never breaks his promise, right? So do you have that promise? And if you don't have that promise, then are you just saying about Allah what you don't know? Are you making up things about Allah? And if you're making up things about Allah, then that should make you think what it is that you're doing. Is it actually safe for you to do? Because if you don't have that security and insurance or even assurance from Allah that you're not going to be going into the fire, then think again what it is that you're doing.
بلى من كسب سيئة وأحاطت به خطيئته فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
But no. Negation. Bala. No. Whatever it is that they're thinking, let it be wiped out. Let the opposite be erected in front of their faces and in front of their arguments, and let it be known that they were thinking and that the path that they were treading was in the wrong direction. So no. Those who commit evil and are engrossed in sin, they will be the residents of the fire. There's no two ways about it. There's no, I will oppress the people, I will murder the people, I will slaughter the people, I will steal land, I will bomb the people, I will supply bombs to people who bomb people. No, I will steal property, I will lie, I will cheat, I will dishonor, I will accuse, I will slander, I will manipulate the truth. None, just because it's not happening in front of their faces, just because it didn't happen the next moment, that there was a negative consequence for their actions, let them not think that they will get away with it. Never will that be the case. For sure, no doubt about it, without a shred of doubt, whoever does evil, whoever does wrong, whoever is doing it, they will be in the fire. Unless they turn and they repent and they ask Allah for forgiveness, they learn what's right and what's wrong, and Allah is most forgiving. He's most compassionate. He doesn't want people to go to the hellfire. And this is reasons why He has sent us messengers and sent us books and texts so that we live a straight life, not so that some people can say they are chosen and some people can oppress others and some people can act like they're better than others. This is not why He revealed text. He revealed text so that people can live a good and wholesome life while they're here and know the purpose of life, which is to go back to Jannah, to earn our way back to Jannah, and to stay away from the hellfire. And that cannot be done by vice. It cannot be done by vile characteristics. It cannot be done by employing methods and attributes of evil. It cannot. You cannot lie and cheat and deceive and then think they're going to go to heaven. Some people, and this is part of the Christian Zionist understanding, as long as the goal is achieved, any means is necessary. So you can kill innocent lives, but if that brings about the second coming of Jesus, so be it. We're working in favor for an outcome that we believe is going to bring God back, that is going to bring Jesus back, that is going to, make us reign supreme in this world. And so even though Jesus's message, alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, would never have accepted any innocent person being dead or killed, anyone's land or property be taken, none of the characters in their books would ever accept it. Not Moses, Musa alayhi salam, not Isa alayhi salam. Yet they employ these things against the very principles of these mighty figures, these major and mighty figures of our religion and their religion. And they employ these methods in hopes of bringing about what they believe is success. And so this is just falling in the traps of shaitan, saying it's okay. At the end, everything will be fine, and that will justify the wrong that you're doing. So go ahead and do the wrong, because at the end, just hold on. And this is what they're saying. Let them finish the job. Let them finish. Let them finish killing the people in Gaza. Let them do this. Let them do that. Let them. They don't want to call for a ceasefire. They don't want to stop the horrors that are happening. They don't care that a humanitarian aid is not reaching into the people where they're starving. Kids are starving. And women are in such bad situation. But they don't realize, or they don't care, or they're given the ability not to care, that every single person, every single life, every single child, every single woman, every single man that they have harmed without justification from Allah, that this is an acceptable reason for someone to be harmed. There's no Sharia ruling for it. Obviously there isn't in this situation. Any person they have harmed, they will be accountable for, and they will have to repay in one way or another. They will bear the burdens of their actions. And so let them not be deluded into thinking that they can go ahead and commit sins and they will not be accountable for it and they will not have to be responsible for their actions. Rather, no, in fact, they will, whoever commits the evil, they will be the residents of the fire, not visitors of the fire. It will not touch them just for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years. No, rather, they will live within it forever.
والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك أصحاب الجنة هم فيها خالدون.
And those who believe and do good will be the residents of paradise. Just like those will be the residents of hellfire, these will be the residents of paradise. They will be there forever. So the reward here is paradise, something that is beyond our comprehension, is more than we could ever ask for. If a person were to take everything that anyone had ever wanted from the beginning of the world, from the beginning of the existence of mankind on this world, every single person ever wanting something, and we have people who are very rich, people who are leaders, who are kings, who are dictators, who are even tyrants, and so on, everything that any person wanted. And people had palaces and people had fantastic lands and buildings and structures. And, if you go through a magazine of palaces, you'd be wowed by what's there, the structures and the furniture and the decorations and everything, right? Those are the things that people were able to achieve in this world. Yet I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying things that people wanted, but they could not get. They could not even bring that about in this dunya because of the limitations that are in this dunya. So if you take everything that everyone ever wanted and ever will want for even the people that are coming in the future, that is that you can put it together, that is less than the lowest level of Jannah. So anything anyone could have ever wanted would be the lowest level of Jannah. Because what is the lowest level of Jannah is things that you could not even imagine you wanted. The limitations of this dunya is beyond our understanding. We've grown into the limitations. We don't realize it. But if we stop and we think about things, everything has its, difficulties attached with it. If you're enjoying your day, the day has to come to an end. There's sleep. If you're enjoying your sleep, the sleep has to come to an end. You have to get up. So everything has its opposites competing with each other. You enjoy your food. You love this food. It's the greatest food you had, but you're going to get full. It's the greatest companionship you had. You really enjoy talking to this person, but at the end of the day, you're going to get tired. They're going to get tired. You have to leave. You have to go to your homes. You have to, or at least even separate rooms, or at least at the end of the day, there's no more communication. Everything has its opposites that it's contending with in this dunya. In Jannah, there is no such thing like that. You will eat, and you will never get full. You will enjoy company, and you will never feel tired. You will never feel fatigue. You will never fall asleep. You will never feel bothered. You will never be in any state of wanting a need that you cannot get. You will never be in a state of suffering. So such a great, and this is just a fraction of description for the paradise. Such a great reward. Does it come easy then? I mean, it seems so easy. All you got to do is just believe and do good, right? Just believe in Allah and the messenger and just do good, give charity, don't say anything, don't harm your neighbors. Very easy. You live your life. No. It's not like that. It's those who believe even when they have some questions, but they still believe. Even when they have something to ask about, they still believe. And those who do good in spite of the opposition in front of them, in spite of the harms that they might face. They might have to sacrifice. They might have to cry. They might have to go through great difficulty. They might be asked to do things that they would never want to do. In fact, this is a reality. Allah will test everyone who believes with the things that they love the most, with the things that they feel secure the most, with the things they feel like is a given for them that they should have and should not be taken away. And only then, when they continue to hold on to what is true in their belief and in their actions, then only then they will be residents of paradise. They will not be taken out from there. And so earning paradise is not easy. Doing good is not easy. Doing good is going against your own self sometimes, many times. Sometimes we are faced with situations and the easier way is to do something that's wrong. And we have to be aware, we have to be conscious of what it is that we find reward in. Do we find reward in doing what's right and what's good, what's upright, what's clean, what's truthful? Or do we find reward in and safety in what is wrong and deception and lies and manipulation and duplicity and others? What is it that feeds us? What is it that we are inclined to do because of what rewards us? Because you have to be careful and realize that it's not the reward or the rewarding feeling that we're chasing. It is the correctness of an action that we're chasing. The rewarding feeling can happen to anyone. If you ask a serial killer, why did you do it? He'll say, I did it because of the thrill of it. There are people like that. They go around harming people's lives and stealing and so on, and because it gives them a thrill. It's a rewarding feeling. So what is it that gives you a rewarding feeling? And you examine that and look at it and say, is it correct? Is it a correct action? Is it an action that's pleasing to Allah? And if it's a rewarding feeling that brings about corruption, then it is problematic. But if it's a rewarding feeling that brings about good actions, then this is in line with what is pleasing to Allah. If it's a rewarding feeling that brings about corruption, then there needs to be excavation. A person must sit and think and go through their heart and say, why do I get rewards? Why do I feel happy when something is wrong? Wrong is wrong and right is right. Why am I aligned in a way where what is wrong is appealing to me? What of the wrong is appealing to me? And then tackle that, remove that, and replace. Everything that is wrong, Allah gives in its place something that is right. And the reward for doing what is right is far more wholesome of a feeling than any rewarding feeling that someone gets when they do something wrong. This is the aid from Allah. And so I ask Allah to grant us the ability to have actions, intentions, belief that serve us and help us in being aligned with what is pleasing to Him, and to keep us away from all that is displeasing to Him, and make us of those who will be the residents of paradise and not from those who will be the residents of Jahannam. If there are any questions, I'll take it now. If not, I will see you next week, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.